everyone. Common Ground with Dusty Keene. The show is sort of a variety jumbo show in sorts. We do interviews with all kinds of people who are my friends and colleagues who are making things happen, living their dreams, thought provokers, thought leaders in their industries, and then musicians, artists, creatives of all kinds. And today I am really, really, really happy to have these mofos in the studio. We have live from the Flatiron. We have the Heavy Hands, the old Heavy, is in the house today. We're going to talk about all kinds of cool stuff with them. We also have a little visitor, which is new to the world, and that's Norm. Is that right?
It is Norm.
Norm, the puppy, is here. So that's going to be fun to see how Norm treats his first interview and podcast. So welcome, the old Heavy Hands, and we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today, man. I'm fascinated with the first time I ever saw you guys play. You did me the service to play at Common Grounds and tore the house down, man. It was an amazing show. I was blown away, and then I've followed you guys ever since and kind of seen this explosive growth with you to now. I mean, I'm confident to say as a venue owner that you're the absolute in-town guaranteed ticket to sell out when you play here. I mean, people love your stuff. They come to your stuff. It's original. The content and the songs are storytelling in so many ways, and really, to me, impactful, man. I love it. It's so fucking good. But this didn't happen overnight. Nothing does. So I kind of want to talk to you guys about like how you met, and then the history behind it. Because those of you that don't know, these guys all have a tattoo shop. They work together in a tattoo shop, and they founded Legacy Irons. And this, it sort of started, I think, with that. These guys, lay some ink into you and do some incredible work as artists in their own right in the tattoo vein. So we'll kind of cover a little bit of all that. I'm just, I guess, anyone that wants to go, like how you guys met and came together.
I think Nate has to start this one. Yeah, go for it.
Well, I mean, it actually started way before tattooing. So when we were in our early 20s, I guess it was, Larry was on tour.
All right, so go ahead. So you're talking about how you guys first met.
So we were all young, and I played in a band here in Greensboro, and Larry played in a band in Chicago, and they were on tour. And Buddy Bill, so it goes all the way back to Buddy.
Yeah, nice. He's actually going to be on the show. So.
Good. So Buddy lived in Greensboro, and I hung out with Buddy a bunch. We were buddies, and he had put out a comp with a bunch of pop punk bands on it, and the band they were on tour with was on that. So they called Buddy in the middle of the night, and where I lived here in Greensboro, we had a bunch of bands come and stay at our house all the time. So Buddy knew they could stay there, so they came by and we hung out for like fucking week or some shit, and just like
some shows together.
We played. Yeah, that's right. We played like 3 shows together, or 2 shows together, and just fucking partied our asses off, and just became
time.
Yeah, just became real good friends. And they went back to Chicago, and their bass player left, which is another really good friend of ours. And they asked me if I wanted to come play bass, so I was just traveling back and forth a little bit, and then moved up there to Chicago with Larry and those guys, and we just toured, played, and partied our asses off. I lived in the basement of Larry's mom's house with Larry.
Yeah.
And we would wake up in the morning there and like play, honestly, these kind of songs.
Yeah.
We never played them with Tom Sawyer because it was like
post-punk or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I was in middle school.
Yeah.
You were failing math.
100%
Doing kickflips and failing math. And and then I moved out there. We played. I ended up moving back here. Long story short, and then Larry was doing some house tats, and I had learned how to. I started apprenticing a tattoo and started tattooing.
I was an EMT basic at the time. I was just doing.
Well, yeah, he wasn't.
Wow.
He was an EMT. Sorry.
Saving lives. Side note.
I was doing house tats. And for the record,
saving
damn
lives.
good house tats, in my opinion.
Damn good house tats. But we're buddies. We stayed in contact. They come down and we'd hang out, party. I'd go up there, and we still were good friends. And eventually, after he was done being an EMT. He started driving,
I retired basically.
Yeah, he retired from being an EMT. Yeah.
About 30, I was done.
Yeah.
That's some heavy stuff, man. What's like something that you've seen?
Ooh, gosh, the craziest thing I ever saw was I was doing clinicals at the time at Christ Hospital, which is it's a trauma hospital, and these paramedics brought in a dude who got shot point blank in the shin and basically blew his leg off. It was pretty gnarly to see that. That was early in my career. I went to the Cook County morgue one time to drop off a deceased person. And man, it is nothing like they show you in the movies. It took forever to get the smell out of my nose.
Wow. You still remember that? Yeah. Like if you would get a simple waft of that again today, you would.
Yeah, you never forget that.
Yeah. Wow. Well, sorry to go with that.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, goddamn.
I have a meeting
Put
with
on
like,
the metal record next.
whoa, good God.
So this next record's really dark.
The next thing is called the board. Just smell it. God. So that's incredibly interesting. That's how it started. So how did young David end up as a part of things? Well, and maybe even before that, how did you guys get together? The first time I ever met you was for a fundraiser for Tim LaFollette, who was working with me at the time and a really fucking good friend of mine. And we made movies together and all kinds of businesses and some things that he did as an editor really impacted the foster care system. And we were I've never met anyone that I worked so well with together creatively as Tim, man. We were able to just do things. He could polish any turd I threw at him, And so I met you when I went. You had a fundraiser for his ALS. Tim died of ALS at 30, right at 29. He had this fundraiser where you could go get these birds, which I have on my shoulder, and for each bird that you got, the money went to his foundation off the awesome. And you guys hosted that and did that, out of your heart for that cause in Newton. And so that's the first time I met you. You guys were at the other location, the first location, which was right down here, off the church. So how did that all come together when you got in the studio?
So I've been buddies with Tim for a long time. You asking how the Off and Awesome thing?
No, how did you guys come together? Like where you got your first tattoo studio?
Well, yeah. So so Larry comes up, moves down here, and we start. Well, he works for a couple other shops, and comes and comes and works for me. And D was there when we first opened the shop.
Well, you called me in, when was that? I guess it was March or something. You're like, hey, I want to open up a tattoo shop, and I just moved back to Wichita, Kansas.
How did you guys meet? How did you know?
Tattooing.
From tattooing. When I worked down in Asheboro, D's from Asheboro, and he was always at the shop. Well, he was tattooing at the shop, learning how to tattoo then. When I moved from Greensboro to Asheboro to work.
Okay.
So that's where I really met D and we became buddies. And then, I left that shop.
He knew I was in Greensboro, so he was like, hey, you want to come help me build a tattoo shop? Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And this was in 2000, I guess late 2009 or maybe early 2010.
Yeah, 2009. Yeah.
And then, so we started building a tattoo shop.
Yeah. And then Larry worked for a couple other people, and then he came on. How long have you been there now?
Well, me and D worked down in Asheboro together before we came and worked at Legacy.
Yeah.
We came about the same time.
Yeah, I totaled a car, and I moved back home for a little while after working for him already. So I was gone for about a year to the day. And then Larry and I came back almost at the exact same time, and that was 2011.
Funny, me and D started playing music together when we worked at Cardinal Rose.
Yeah.
D would play banjo.
Yeah.
Just play acoustic guitars and stuff.
I was actually in Old Heavy Hands. I was the banjo player before I was the guitar.
Really?
First show you sat on a stool.
Yeah.
And played banjo.
I did. And we got paid for it. I think someone handed me like $17. And I was like,
Green gold.
and I was mind blown because I just played a couple songs badly on a banjo, and someone handed me a couple bucks. I was like, "This is awesome."
Man, I can get paid for drinking.
It's like 4 PBRs, like a shot maybe. If I'm
Free
nice
tickets.
bartender.
Yeah. But so Larry and I played a bunch of guitar and banjo. And we would play shows in Asheboro together, actually.
Yeah. We opened for the Skyway.
Yeah. It was a real weird time. And then we all come up. but we had all played guitar together. You know, they had songs, you know, and I would always want to play guitar with them. I loved their songs and I just wanted to be a part of it. Oh, I could play guitar, but I wasn't a good guitar player. I could follow along and steal their licks and their riffs and say I love them. But
What happened?
more than a few times.
Yeah.
Never in like
You were playing one of those songs and you're like, you know, I told my friends I write this shit, right?
right. This was the chick he was hanging out with the night before, right? I wrote this for you, Emily.
Who knows? But yeah, we always played, and then once we all came up here, of course, we started playing. You know, it really started all Heavy Hands, I think, in my head. We played that Pitbull benefit that Garrigan puts on.
That's right.
Yeah.
We did.
They do a thing where you cover, each band or group will cover a band. So say one person did like Rocky Erickson, the other person did
Elliott Smith.
Smith, and we decided to do this band Hot Water Music that we all love, the whole punk rock band.
Yeah.
And so we scrounged up enough gear. None of us were playing like electric loud stuff at the time. Scrounged up some gear and we played it, and we loved it so much we started playing, like we started writing songs, and they were real punk rock stuff at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Before the real country stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it just kind of evolved from there.
I have a video of us playing that song.
Really, I'd love to see that.
I forgot about that. I have a video of that.
You ever bring that back?
But we all loved
Yeah.
playing so much when we played that benefit. It was a Pitbull benefit rescue, something or another, and we loved it so much we just kept doing it. And then, yeah, they started writing more songs.
Yeah.
So how long officially have you guys been together?
7 years,
6 or 7 years.
6 or 7, yeah.
somewhere around there. I could deep dive on Instagram and find out when we were practicing, but I would say somewhere roughly around then.
Yeah.
2012.
Yeah, I don't know when our first show was.
That was not Common Grounds, but the other coffee shop.
Green Valley.
Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Yeah, you know, I remember the first time I hung out with you, I think, first, and it was kind of through Josh Keene. I was like, man, these fucking guys are cool as shit. Man, these guys are a good time, man. And so it amazed me too. So I would start to pop in the shop, you know, and say hello whenever I was around. And every time I would go in, there would be some Jason Isbell play.
Oh yeah.
And you know, there was like a lot of times I would go to Jason Isbell play. I was a huge Jason Isbell fan, even in the Drive By Trucker scene, progression, and you know him getting sober and doing solo stuff. And now he's, you know, he's like every songwriter's, top list guy.
And guitar players.
Do not fucking sleep on Jason Isbell with violin. Let me tell you, son. I've seen him.
I just sit in bed and watch his IG videos, and he just like will sit there during quarantine and just rip.
Lyrically, though, he's not to be fucked with.
No. I don't know of a better songwriter, poet like him than I've in my lifetime. I've seen.
John Prine, yeah.
Well, yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of his songs is just like, oh my God, where does that come from?
Yeah.
But then you saw, like, I think, some glimpses of that inspirationally through the first album. I thought anyway, you know, and it was really, really good. And then there was like sort of a transition in the second album was very different.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, from you guys' perspective and playing together, that moment when you knew you had something great with the first album, I think, and then what sort of inspired the transition into the difference in the second album?
I think we can only do what we do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in the infancy of it, I don't think we really even knew what we wanted to do with it, you know, and I think that's just kind of what came out at the time. And then once we kind of got a better grasp on it, and this is just me talking, I can't say for them, but for me, you know, we wanted to play something or stuff that was more, you know, I guess, I won't say heavy, but more punk rock stuff that was like faster and just more us, you know. Right. We did the country record, which was, I love that record. But in my opinion, we didn't know we knew what we were doing, but we didn't know exactly what we wanted to.
We were three dudes with acoustic guitars.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then we started dialing it in with other musicians that were in Old Heavy Hands, and we started to figure it out a bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, after we recorded that record, when we started playing shows, we played with the full band, you know, almost all the time, and like we didn't have a band on that first record. You know, the second one, we'd been playing shows and we had a band, and it was like we were playing electric guitars and just rock and roll, and it just kind of the live shows, the songs sounded nothing like the record did.
Right.
You know? So it's kind of just a natural progression into more electric, and it's a lot more fun. It's fun for us. We'll break out the acoustics occasionally, but not
It's bad.
very
The
often.
last show we played here, minus the
We did.
we played an acoustic show before
We
we
had
had the live thing.
Josh Go playing stand up, and Casey Horton
Playing viola.
Yeah,
Killer, man.
Yeah.
yeah, it was awesome.
I
It was
just
very
recorded
cool.
a song with Casey Horton, actually. Well, I did a song with Angie Perro, and then Casey came and put some viola.
Yeah,
it's great.
And, it's an interesting, she just can go into any
Oh, yeah,
situation, man, and throw
She's
that
so
thing
good.
in. It's kind of like Casey Cranford, too, with the
Oh, yeah.
Huey.
Yeah.
Like, you bring him in, it doesn't matter what genre music you're playing, it's going to fucking
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And so now that you've done the second album, and this has been a really fucking weird time. I hate, the subject matter of the pandemic is over and stamped on everything, but it has certainly crushed the live music scene. Live music. It has been a fucking major blow. I've been shut down for 6 months as a live music venue. It hurts man. I feel like I'm just missing that so much, and we don't really know when things are even going to be back to where we're going to, you guys are going to look at this sold out crowd, which is easy for you guys to do, and see just the energy in the faces and taking and getting in that moment. Dave McCracken and I were talking about where, he was saying when that moment happens, that can only happen when you have a live crowd where it just happens and boom, it just moves to where it's going to go. And it's kind of moving through you and then through them, and everybody's feeling that thing.
You can't see energy,
You can't, and that can't be duplicated on a fucking live stream.
No.
Man.
No,
It can't
not
be.
at all.
Absolutely that's something that everybody has to experience. And if you have experienced it, you need it like a drug, man.
Yeah.
And so I know that had to have been difficult for you guys because you've had some pretty special shows, man. You have a relationship, I guess, with Oliver Peck, who's like an master guy, and that's how you guys sort of travel to different destinations. One of which being Dallas, I guess.
Yep.
If you want to talk a little bit about that show and what that was like for you.
Well, we kind of met Oliver. One of those stories, like it was our first, I guess, long tour, and Danny Reed, our buddy up in Asheville, and John Henry, they put out our first record. Like they did everything for us. So they put out the first record, and we were booking a tour out to play the Austin City Limits, the 310 in Texas, and we needed some dates filled. Danny was good buddies with Oliver. He sent Oliver one of our CDs of the first record, and he loved it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we're like, hey, we need some shows. And he had a big motorcycle thing going on. Southern Throwdown or something. Yeah. So it was a big motorcycle show. So we played at the Bomb Factory in Dallas at his motorcycle show. And then he booked us a show that same night at the after party at Three Links down in Deep Ellum.
Three Links is awesome.
Oh, yeah. And so we go down there, hang with Oliver, play the shows, have the best time, and we just became really good friends that way. And when the next record was coming out, we had already been writing songs and stuff for it. And they said something to me when we were down there the first time, like, we want to put out your next record. We're like,
really?
All right. So we're like, sure, man. We just, we all tattoo, we all have mutual respect for each other. So I think it just kind of worked out, and he's funnest dude to party with.
Really?
He's a party animal. I love it. All those guys, man. I haven't met
The
anybody.
best party host I think I've ever met.
Best party
Who
host.
doesn't drink,
Yeah, who doesn't drink at all. So like he's just there to have a great time, and it's awesome. He's such a good dude, and everyone that we met in Dallas have been great people.
Oh yeah,
I haven't met anybody.
Dallas
down
is
there.
really gracious to us for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So when we get to go play there, we always know it's going to be a fun time.
It's always a
fucking
fun
Mardi
time.
Gras.
It is every time.
It's crazy.
Well, to be able to like have to gain an audience that you would not normally have through something that comes to you is the kind of shit I'm preaching a lot of times to people, just on like an entrepreneur level and on a level of life. Like, when you start to live out the things and you start to put in the time and you're loving what you do and you're passionate about what you do, then these doors open up that you couldn't have ever imagined happen or even say this is going to happen. But because you're in the act of doing what you do and that you love it and that energy that you're putting out there is that, then these things happen and now you've got fans in Dallas that you never would have before.
Yeah,
strange.
absolutely.
It's very strange.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's intentional, but it seems unintentional.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, you don't know what's happening in the moment, I think, and then later on you're like, oh wow, like that's that happened. That was awesome, you know?
Right. And then now, with all of this shit, what are you guys up to now? Are you recording another album? You just did a live show. You had a new song that came out from here. We did a live stream.
Yeah.
And that had a single on it that was new. What's in the future for you guys, and what are you doing now as a band creatively? Are you still? Do you find that with all this, you're getting to get less or more? Or,
Well, we've been having issues, getting everyone together. But we have been writing. Yeah, I mean,
We got songs for days.
we got songs.
Yeah.
We've been working on songs. We're starting tonight actually to start hashing the rest of them out, and hopefully we're planning to be recording a new record really soon. So we got a lot of songs. We're just putting them all together.
Yeah.
Dude, I cannot wait till we fucking have the release here, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But we're gonna. Maybe we'll release some more stuff as well. To kind of keep stuff going. So we've been a little quiet for a little bit, but haven't been much going on. So
Well, yeah, and I don't think anyone's forgotten.
We're gonna do a new record soon. We're real stoked about it, and hopefully shows come back.
Yeah,
We'll see
I mean,
when,
they
but,
will. They will. I mean, I
Will.
was talking to Dave McCracken of Down in Buffalo. They owned the Shikori Hills, and they owned the festival as well. And so he was saying that their thought was that they will do one in fall, and that was the hope. That fall of 2021.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So that's
not
a
this
year.
one.
Right, it's a year from now. But I think that, hopefully, if everybody gears up for that kind of thing, and in between then we have little pockets of things that happen,
Yeah.
then fantastic.
Well, I think a lot of great music will be written during this.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's already being written for sure.
And I'm hoping that the venues can hold on that host original
Yeah.
music. I mean, that's a big difference between this place and a lot of places, that we are a home for original music, and you guys are like, the kings of that here in Greensboro. And I see, articles everywhere where all these venues are shutting down, and I get it, and I know why. I mean, even, the Cat's Cradle was struggling extremely. I don't know what the outcome of that was, but they were at one point where it was really critical.
Right.
And they had some help from outside, and you're talking about a legendary venue that
Absolutely.
that really has some of the best music around.
Oh, absolutely.
Here and there has to be places for that to be played. So I'm hoping that these venues can stay alive, and the music is there once that all intersects, so that we don't go back to we've got a brewery and here's some covers.
Right.
Like you have a chance to really discover some badass
Right.
music, like Oliver Peck was able to do. And then that turned into a whole lot of people that are probably out there playing your shit right now across the country.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And you mentioned before that some of that when you played with Oliver was through like a motorcycle.
It was a motorcycle show he put on in Dallas,
Okay.
and it was like all these motorcycle builders and stuff at trees, and they had vendors, and then they had the big stage so not trees, but at the Bomb Factory. And then they had a big stage, so there's bands playing and stuff like.
And you do all of you ride bikes? All right, motorcycles? No.
Just
4
me.
wheels forever.
Just me.
So you do something cool though, that you do like that sort of a fundraiser and a ride. I'd really love to learn about that. And like for each of you, if you guys want to be thinking about this, we kind of want to come away with some things that you really give a shit about, things that impact you or inspire you creatively. Because I know as you talk about what you've been doing with the bike ride, that's not easy to put together. I mean, nothing is.
Well, I didn't put any of it together, but I did go on it, and it's a great cause. It's Aaron Finnan, who's Oliver's right hand man. They're best friends. He does True South, which is it's a bike ride they do. Ben Nichols from Lucero does it as well. It's a bike riders tour, but and it raises money all throughout the country for True South, which is Aaron's foundation. Where if it goes to help out, tattooers who ride bikes who don't usually have insurance when they go down, or people that don't have insurance, to help them get through the crash. Anytime getting hit on a motorcycle, because it happens, and it happens a lot.
Yeah.
And so the bike riders tour goes different spots of the country each year. They usually do it every year. It's about 2 weeks, and we did it out west. And I played guitar and opened up the shows every night for Ben, and then Oliver and everybody tattoos during the day and then comes there at night. It's just a big party.
Wow.
But it's cool, man. And it's and they raffle off. Bill donates a bunch of helmets to the ride, So they raffle off these helmets all night long, and they sell merch, and like, yeah, it's just a good time.
You know, it's I was saying to you guys earlier before we started this, the first time I went to like an old heavy hand show, you could tell that you had your own following because everyone was like jean jackets up, tattooed up, man. They looked like a cult, dude. You know,
Yeah.
You're like it's a lot of people you didn't want to fuck with, too. Like it looked like they were like into it, man, and it was really cool. But you talk about the fact that they were fundraisers for tattooers and for bike riders, and it seems to be this close-knit family that's nationwide that really give a shit about each other. I know, Nate, you had some struggles, health-wise that were pretty serious.
Yeah.
Recently,
Yeah.
and you saw a lot of people in the community, I think, come together over that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that, and I'm glad to see you looking good, man. And is everything, how is that?
Oh, I'm 100% good, man. I'm free and clear. So, yeah. I mean, tattoo community, all of our friends, music community, everybody came together, and supported that. And it's definitely very special, and it's very humbling as well, But yeah, I'm free and clear now.
That's great, man. And the fact that community of people that, they may look like people that you might not approach.
Right.
If you're needed.
for
So
sure.
let me tell you something, man. There's some of the kindest, most giving people that I've met,
Absolutely.
and it's really cool to see them support each other like that.
Oh yeah.
So what's something for you, D, that Mr. D itself, that you give a shit about, man, or that you want to...
Well, first and foremost, I give a shit about this little pupper dog.
Norm.
His name's Norm.
Norm!
What do I care about, Larry?
What do you care about?
You don't care about fucking shit.
I'm just on the spot. Trying to
Well,
run
if
the
not
spot.
care about that, what's something that inspires you, man? Like something that you do that puts you in a good mood, that makes you feel good.
Again, this puppy. I'm just joking. Man, I don't know, just music to people, being good to people.
All right.
It's hard to be inspired right now.
Right, well, sure.
With the state of the
We'll
world.
start that process by saying, like, what's something that you're really grateful for at the moment?
Grateful for tattooing and being able to be allowed to make a living at the moment where so many people are not able to.
And do what you love at the same time.
Yeah, I'm very
Being artists
fortunate.
as
A lot of people are struggling right now to make ends meet, whether it's bar, food, musicians, whatever industry that is affected heavily with all this crap. So I'm thankful that I get to go into work every day and draw pictures on people to pay my bills.
Yeah, man. And Larry, you're the one of the group. It's interesting because we're talking about Oliver Peck doesn't drink. You don't drink either.
No.
And you're around like some terrible drinkers, man. So,
Sorry.
Yeah. Is that,
I'm a recovering alcoholic, so I'm not, trying to think I'm better than everybody. I just don't need to drink now.
Were you at 10 years now?
I'll be
9 years, man.
January.
That's
4th.
awesome, dude. First, congratulations for that, man. It's now that you're hitting tattooing, rock and roll, and you hang out with some heavy hitters. So it's like, you're always having a good time, though. I've never seen you, whatever, it doesn't really seem to bother you.
I find my ways to keep my mind sane,
Right.
but
So in that same vein, like, what's something that you feel like you really give a shit about or inspired by?
my family, my wife and kid, my daughter is what drives me to do everything. So, other than that, I'm a nerd. I love music as a fan.
Yeah.
I love listening to music, making it.
He's the biggest fan I've ever known of music.
Yeah.
Wow.
That also
Total
plays
nerd.
music. Yeah.
I also love basketball. I like watching skateboarding. That inspires me.
Yeah.
Dang, that's a good one. I should have said
Yeah.
that.
Like I want to play music, the way that Jamie Floyd skateboarded.
The way Michael Jordan plays basketball.
What an interesting, maybe you can, in some coming shows, we'll just have a big half pipe and Floyd can play the music and it all comes together.
I mean, I'm not a great skateboarder, that's for sure.
Well, little Nate goes out there and skates while we practice. He'll be
Yeah.
doing it tonight, I'm sure.
That's cool, man. Dude, that's like fucking, that's your own little live band that you're dropping in, like, yeah.
Yeah, he gets to skate with some jams.
So let's talk about where we get your music, man. Like, where do we buy merch? Where do we get your albums? Things like that you can do to help support these guys to continue to do what they do. as we figure out that, I'm really hoping that there is an old heavy hand show at the Flatiron in the near future. And while we may not know when that'll be, I'm really looking forward to that. And anything we can do to help, man, I always, of course, will be there for that. Contribute whatever way I can. But so for anyone listening that would like to check out the music, buy a shirt, whatever, they have badass marketing, man. I've got an old heavy head White Claw kind of koozie one of the shows, which are great, which actually fit the White Claw can.
Yeah, it's the White Claw for sure.
It was thinking. So where do we pick up some of that stuff, and how do we tap in and tune into what you guys are doing?
Well, we have Old Heavy Hands Bandcamp where you can buy all the merch at.
Okay.
We sell our merch there. Records, CDs. I don't know if we have any CDs left. We got a couple of the first record left. And then you can listen to it on all streaming platforms anywhere. So
Except for Touch Tunes in any local.
except for Touch Tunes. We're working on that.
But we're close right now, so it doesn't
Can't
even
do it
matter.
at fucking bars anyway.
What is that? It's like this antiquated piece of whatever that
I don't
sits
know.
there, and you can never, anything I've ever pushed into a touch tube, they don't have it.
I miss the
It's
old
like, what the
fucking
fuck?
jukeboxes. The old College Hill jukebox.
Oh,
It
man,
had
I miss
fucking
that
Black
too.
Flag on that shit. Like
You
it
can
was.
bring your own record in, like bring your own
Oh yeah,
shit,
it was
put
the
in.
shit. It was the best. It had kudzu wish in it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It had the-
yeah,
it was,
very cool.
we'd be in there fucking jamming some kudzu wish. Getting fucked up. That was good. Good times.
Yes. Well, I just want to say, man, I know that you guys have tons of shit to do and other shit you can do. And it's really, I'm grateful that you guys took your time out to come in and talk to me, man, and be on the podcast. I think anybody listening is going to get a great glimpse of who you are. If you haven't heard of or know about Old Heavy Hands, you need to discover them. They're fucking amazing. And I'm just really grateful that you guys took the time to come in. If there's anything
Thanks
you
for
want to
having us,
throw out
man.
there, shout out, whatever. You can also get tattooed by these guys at Legacy Iron
Legacy
Tattoos,
Irish Tattoo.
which I make an appointment for as soon as we're done with this. I'm getting some new ink by these brothers. So make sure that you do that if you want some art, man. These guys are absolutely fucking masters of what they do, in my opinion. And they are downtown on McGee Street, Greensboro, North Carolina. So fly in or call in, make an appointment, and get some ink on you by these guys who I think are destined to be impact makers with their music to thousands and thousands of people. So again, thank you guys very, very
Thank
much.
you for having us.
Like the channel, subscribe to this. There's a lot more content from that. We're going to lead you out with a little Heavy Hands jam. And again, thank you guys very much.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us, man.
Yes, sir.
Watch the sun go down behind the pines on our land. The army's called me to go fight on foreign sands. I hate that I'm leaving. No, I'll always be your man. Would you please just wait for me? She cried as I held her hand. She said, rev me up tight and we'll go a place they can't find us. They'll never know. Rev me up tight and we'll go. His ship of a southern belle. Days grew longer and longer. The war had taken all his friends, so he tries to just stay alive and fight till the bitter end. He said, wrap me up tight and we'll go a place they can't find us, they'll never know. Wrap me up tight and we'll go. Soon as he arrived there stateside, he called her mom and dad. I'm sure by now she's forgotten. Said no, boy, she's waiting out